What's up, world? It's Will Royer here in the Virginia Wayside Furniture studio, and this is 8 at 4, presented by VCU Massey Cancer Center. 8 segments about the people, places, and things you need to know about in the Richmond area. Today we're brewing beer, river rafting, and playing some football. Oh yeah, summer is here, so let's go. Since COVID first struck, there's been a rise of pop-up restaurants in the city. Smashed RVA takes backyard burgers on the go to your favorite breweries across the city. Here's a taste.
Hey, I'm Michael from Smashed RVA. We're popping up in front of Final Gravity Brewing Company in Lakeside, Virginia. Smashed RVA, we're a burger pop-up, best burger pop-up in the city. We go to local breweries, smashing burgers. Pop-up restaurant is literally, you go wherever you want, set up, you show up that day and pop up, and you just keep moving and go to where the people are. I'm from Stafford, Virginia. I moved to Caroline, and then moved to Richmond after high school. Lost my job during COVID, wanted to start a pop-up business anyway, and kind of gave me a little boost. And who doesn't love cheeseburgers? You literally take a ball of meat and you smash it down, calls in that Maillard reaction, nice sear, crispy but juicy on the inside. Yeah, Maillard reaction is when the seasoning hits the heat and it browns. Your meat's not brown, you just like boil meat, there's no flavor, so you want to cause the meat to sear, and that's where the flavor comes from. The thing I enjoy the most about Richmond is just like the culture, the diversity. There's always something going on in the city. Smash RVA's for the people. We pull up anywhere, come get smashed. Find us on Instagram or Facebook at Smashed RVA.
Prolific author Stephen King once wrote, "Sooner or later, everything old is new again." Well, Richmond record store Vinyl Conflict is proving his point as they just opened a brand new location downtown. Take a look.
My name is Bobby Egger, and you're at Vinyl Conflict Records at the 300 East Grace Street block, downtown Richmond. There's artists from a local level, people that like you see every day. They're making their own music, and sometimes it doesn't get the same exposure that something on television's gonna get. So through Vinyl Conflict, we've always tried to push those artists that are independently releasing their own music. They're working at local studios, local artists, working with local graphic designers, pushing music that maybe doesn't get the same attention that you would in the mainstream. I think what makes vinyl special in the age of digital music is that we're living in an era of fast consumption. There's new music dropping online every hour, every minute. We're constantly being overstimulated, and when you have to stop and come back to physical media, analog media, we have a chance where you have to actually stop what you're doing. You have to look at what you have. You pull out a record, you open it up, you have the lyrics. You have to sit there, set your turntable up, put your disc down. It's a very involved process. People are learning to appreciate the involved activity of being passionate about their music. You literally can't do that with the rapid online access.
This week in 8 at 4 Sports, presented by the Richmond Flying Squirrels, we took a trip to the River City Sportsplex to watch the East Coast National Flag Football Tournament.
This is the East Coast Nationals Flag Football Tournament in partnership with the Flag Football World Championship Tour and the DMV Flag Football League. So it's a great event, 200 plus teams coming out to compete in a bunch of different styles and divisions. So very excited to have this event in the Richmond region.
Flag football is growing by leaps and bounds. We have 200 plus teams at this event this year, all the way from Florida to Massachusetts, Ohio, the Carolinas. We even have some Texas and California teams here.
Flag football is humongous in America. It's gotten bigger. This is my 16th year playing this game, and it hasn't done nothing but grew every year.
It's really a great economic boom for the region to have an event like this. Tons of food trucks and vendors and other things like that to create that festival atmosphere and create that memorable experience for all attendees. So we're very excited about the partnership and glad we could get them connected within the community. And we're excited for many more years to come of hosting this event here at River City Sportsplex here in Chesterfield County.
We could explore Richmond, but some people tend to do that. Some people tend to be out here with their family. Believe me, it's a family culture out here. So you come out here with your family, your children, you're gonna want to take them to places. There's a couple places out here that you're gonna want to visit.
So Richmond is actually the ideal spot, not only for all the attractions that they have like King's Dominion and the whitewater rafting and just a great atmosphere and area, but it is actually the middle ground for a lot of teams on the East Coast, and that's why it's the East Coast National Tournament. The facility is 12 beautiful, pristine turf fields. The complex is very easy to work with. They provide a lot of support. The park is like no other. The lights, the turf, the organization, the area. It's a really fun place to be.
It's getting warm and folks are outside for the beginning of a great summer. We took a visit to Riverside Outfitters to learn about river rafting and how to stay safe on the James.
I'm Kynan Studdard, and we're here at Riverside Outfitters. We do rafting, stand on top paddleboarding, sit on top kayaking. We have camps. We will do anything to get people out on the water. My parents growing up would always take me camping. I've been canoeing on the James since I was 4. Just a lot of outdoor adventure stuff my whole life. Just love being on the river and around the river. The river is ever changing with rain and all sorts of things like snow melt from the mountains. Making sure that you're aware of the conditions is the #1 safety concern. #1, check the river level. Know what the river level is at all times. If it's under 5 feet, you're pretty much good to go. It's low, there's not gonna be any dangerous. If it's over 5 feet, definitely wear a PFD. Wearing proper safety equipment like a helmet and a PFD is really important, and that's why we always do it on all of our trips. If it's over 9 feet, wait till it goes down. If you have any questions about a river condition, we can answer any questions that you have about that. There's a huge community of people on the James who are eager to help new people get on the James. Just ask and people will help you get on the river and give you the information and the tools that you need to safely go down the river.
Up next, a former Major League Baseball player shows us how to brew beer from the center of the universe. Wow, you gotta watch this one.
Welcome to Center of the Universe. I'm Chris Ray, the managing partner, and behind me is 60,000 pounds of grain, getting ready to make some delicious beer. We've been brewing beer for 10 years now. I'm a Tampa native, but I've lived in Virginia since 2000. After 7 years of playing in the major leagues and having brewing beer as a hobby, my brother and I turned our hobby into a business, and now follow me inside and I'll show you how to make some beer. So the grain that was in the silo outside is then augered in here. Our brewers will enter in how many pounds of grain they'll need from our base grain. The grain will flow in to the feed pro and then into our malt mill. So once it gets to the malt mill, all of that malted barley will be cracked open, allowing us to reach the goodies on the inside that we'll eventually use to create the alcohol in our beers. Now behind me is where all of that malted barley that we just cracked open in our malt mill falls into the mash tun. The mash tun is where water will be pouring in as the grain flows in. It'll all mix up with our mash rakes, and then it'll sit there for about an hour. And what happens during that time is all the starches that were in that malted barley will convert to sugar. And sugar is what we need at the end result so that the yeast can eat it and create that alcohol. Once the mashing process is done, we will then run it off into this tank and then into our boil kettle. Once the beer is in the boil kettle, now it's time to bring that beer up to a boil. And at that point, that's when we start adding things like hops, or if we're doing any spicing, we can add it in at that point too. We will boil the beer from anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on the style. There's 2 different ways to get additional alcohol in beer. Either A, you have more sugar, which means you use more grain, or B, you boil the beer longer so that the water evaporates and that ratio of sugar to water keeps increasing. So once we put it over to the fermenter, then we'll end up with a higher alcohol beverage. Once the beer is done boiling, we have to cool it down. So we use our heat exchanger, which is right here underneath our brew platform. The wort comes in line and travels up to the fermenter, where once it's in there, we'll pitch some yeast on it and begin the fermentation process. So once the beer is transferred over into our bright tanks, it's carbonated and now it's ready to package. So we do both kegs and cans here at Center Universe. And then after 3 to 5 weeks of production, it's ready to drink. So not only do we brew here at Center Universe, but we also have a tap room. We've got an arcade, we've got a beer garden. We have events here all the time. Or you can just stop in any day of the week and grab a fresh beer.
June 1st marked the official start of Pride Month. To celebrate, we took a trip to Diversity Thrift to do some shopping and learn more about their mission for inclusion.
My name is James Milner and I'm a program director at Diversity Richmond. Diversity Richmond serves as the LGBTQ community center for Central Virginia. Diversity Thrift is part of Diversity Richmond, and I sort of describe Diversity Thrift as the foundation of Diversity Richmond. It is the place where we physically interact with the most people from our community, whether they're donors who are dropping off donations of clothing, housewares, or furniture to us, or whether they are coming here to shop. So Diversity Thrift is a retail operation that provides the lion's share of the funding for Diversity Richmond. And from the financial resources that come to Diversity Richmond through Diversity Thrift, we were able to support the programs of Diversity Richmond and give grants back to other community-based organizations. Diversity Thrift literally has something for everybody. We have clothing, we have housewares, we have electronics, we have lots of furniture. Just about something for everybody, and it's all very, very reasonably priced. So everything that we sell has been donated to us, so we are able to price it in ways that make it really affordable. And we get new inventory in here every single day. Pride Month is a time when the LGBTQ community truly celebrates the progress that we have made towards full equality for those in our community. And inclusion is vitally important. Everybody wants to feel included, right? We used to talk about the term diversity, and that is in part of our name. And of course, diversity is important, but diversity is what things look like. Inclusion is how something feels. I often talk about the difference between diversity and inclusion is when you're invited to a dinner party. So diversity is who is invited and sits around the table. Inclusion means that you are actually asked to help prepare the meal, and that you were able to give something of yourself, of your culture, of your identity into that experience.
Mental health is a big deal. However, it doesn't have to be scary. Therapist and fashionista Mecca Williams wants to share some ways to find your joy.
So I'm Mecca Williams, and as a career, I am a mental health therapist. I love the art of style. Some people are painters or a dancer. It's the same thing for me. It just wakes me up. I understand the importance of showing up as myself because that inspires clients to want to do the same. A lot of people I see have extreme low self-esteem, no identity, and so when they see me owning myself, that will inspire them to do the same. Two common things that most human beings will experience in their lifetime is a form of depression or anxiety. That's just it, and it depends on what has happened in our lives that leads us down that path. It is always beneficial to go get help and get another perspective to help you navigate this. So it's highly important for you to engage in the things that bring you joy, just as a therapeutic tool, a coping mechanism, but just in life. That's what life is about. Life is about just activating your internal joy. A lot of times, we don't know what we like until we try something. Sometimes we think we don't like something. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. Put yourself out there. We go around this thing called life one time. Just try. Then you can determine, okay, that's not for me, that's for me. But at least you can say, hey, I tried. So therapy, I tell people this all the time, it's kind of like dating, finding a therapist. You gotta find the one that, suits you. And if you know you need therapy that struggles with trauma, look for a person who specializes in trauma. If it's depression and anxiety, look for a person who says in their bio that they focus on areas of depression and anxiety. If it's self-esteem, relationships, look for people who specialize in those areas. People tell you like time heals all wounds. That's absolutely not true. Healing is what heals all wounds. Going to get help to help you process and navigate and point out things that you may not have recognized.
Our very own Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, Michael Paul Williams, recently explored some powerful art pieces that were added to the historic St. Paul's Episcopal Church. Here's what he saw.
St. Paul's Episcopal Church in downtown Richmond, right up the street, right across from our state capitol. Very historic church. The former, quote unquote, Cathedral of the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis worshiped there. Robert E. Lee was known to attend services there. That was its legacy. They've removed Confederate iconography. They've been very intentional about exploring and documenting their history, including the warts of racism. And it culminated with this liturgy called the Stations of St. Paul's. And you have to see it. They go from the slave trade and its role in the slave trade through all sorts of symbols, including African Adinkra symbols that were paper cut by Janelle Washington, who's a wonderful paper cut artist from Richmond. And it's so intricate. It just goes through the whole history of St. Paul's, including its role in racism in Richmond. In more recent years, its role in trying to be about reconciliation. And it ends with the two churches, Mother Emanuel in Charleston and St. Paul's, images of them. It's powerful. It's very powerful.
All right, that wraps up another episode of 8 at 4 presented by Massey Cancer Center, where they invite you to imagine a future without cancer. I'm Will Royer, and I'll see you next time.